Welcome to another episode of TaxSnax, and we're here in the studio with our close friend and most amazing human being in the whole world, Josh Youngblood. Josh, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
Thank you. My name is Josh Youngblood. I'm an enrolled agent in the Dallas, Texas area. My firm specializes in individuals and small businesses.
Fantastic. Josh, we're just going to jump right into it. What is the craziest tax-related thing you've heard on social media?
The craziest is that everyone should form an LLC so that they can write off all of their personal expenses, including their mortgage and their groceries. I've seen this on TikTok several times. That's one of the craziest. There are several.
So if this is what we're touching on then today, is there any particular stories that you've heard of or that you know of someone trying to write off some of these expenses?
Oh, of course. There are people who actually do succeed in writing these expenses off. At some point, if they're audited by the IRS, they will catch them. But given the fact that the IRS doesn't have the resources to audit as many people as they should, there's enough people that get away with this. So they become emboldened to do more things.
So since we're trying to, we ourselves, not get arrested, and our viewers fined as well, not get arrested or fined, why don't you tell us the repercussions of what can happen if you do get audited by the IRS?
So if you get audited by the IRS, they're going to ask for proof of your expenses. The expenses are going to need to be ordinary and necessary for your business. So you're actually going to have a legitimate business, not just forming an LLC for personal expenses. If you're not able to substantiate those expenses, then the IRS is going to disallow them, which is going to result in you owing more taxes. Plus, if you have really pushed the envelope and it's very egregious, they can assess certain penalties up to and including referring it over to the criminal investigation unit of the IRS, which they could, if it was a large enough amount, they could decide to charge you.
I've heard about some people who have, they formed an LLC thinking that it's a legitimate business, and then if they get audited, it's determined that it's not actually a business, it's a hobby. How is that determined? And yeah, how is that determined? The end.
There's typically several ways the IRS will look at something, whether it's an actual business or a hobby. The biggest one is if you've lost money 3 of the 5 years, then they can determine that it is not an actual business, that it is a hobby, which that's what happens with a lot of people. They'll have something that really is a hobby, but they want to try to make it into a business. And if you continue to lose money, then it's obviously not a business, because the goal of business is to make a profit.
So this small hack of not being profitable year after year to basically help yourself get some taxes back is probably not something we want to be doing.
No, because if you're in a legitimate business, you want to make a profit, which over the years, I've seen lots of self-employed individuals or individuals who have their own companies take the mindset of, I don't want to pay any taxes. I don't like paying taxes, which no one likes paying taxes, but that's part of life. Then what happens is, they have losses, they've made no money, they go to get a mortgage or they need to get a loan. And the bank says, let me look at your tax returns. Well, guess what? You've made no money. Why should we loan you money? Because you've made no money.
Right. What is that? What did I miss? Todd, someone in here knows.
Tell me.
Okay, we talked about deductions, and what are the two? Well, you said necessary. What are the two different types of deductions?
Imprudent?
Ordinary and necessary.
Ordinary.
Yes.
Yep.
See,
Here's a prime example. You will often see on social media, everyone says, go buy a G-Wagon. If it's over 6,000 pounds, you can have this huge deduction. It needs to be ordinary and necessary for your business. Prime example, if I go buy a G-Wagon and use it to just drive to my office and drive home, that is not a legitimate use. Commuting is not a business expense. Now, if I was actually in a business where I was regularly having to go to a customer's location or incurring, maybe I was doing deliveries, something along the lines of that, then maybe. I think you would be hard pressed to say you needed a $100,000 G-Wagon to do that, but there are instances where I'm sure it could work.
And hasn't there been some recent changes on that as well, as far as dinners and entertainment goes as well?
Yeah, since I believe it was 2017 or 18 when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came into play, you could no longer deduct entertainment for business.
How do you determine what entertainment is? Like, I assume there could be someone who could try and finesse some gray area in that.
That happens. I've seen, if you're basically taking clients to play golf or taking them to a football game, that's entertainment. Mm-hmm. Although some will attempt to argue that it's marketing, which it's not, it's entertainment. But it happens a lot.
All right, well, just for the people to hear one more time so they will believe it, let's just talk about how just because you didn't get caught doesn't mean that you didn't do something wrong when it comes to your taxes. What's the most professional way that you can say that, or the most fun way that you can say that to tell our viewers that just because, you didn't get caught this time, or just because you saw that it worked for somebody doesn't mean that it worked for them legally?
Well, if you look at it on average, how many crimes a day do you think people commit? I have no idea. I don't have any statistics on that. But I would venture to guess there's a ton of crimes that are committed every day, but very few people end up getting caught or investigated. And then beyond that, even fewer end up getting charged. So yeah, people skate by, but do you really want to be that one person that they decide to make an example out of? And for me personally, when I go to sleep at night, I don't want to be thinking about, am I going to get a letter in the mail from the IRS? Am I going to be investigated? It's not worth it.
It's definitely not worth it. And take it from Josh, guys. He has taken many a CPE courses over the years. And just this year in general, he's probably got over 100 and something credits already for the year. And the year's not even over. But speaking of credits, you can come to New Money Summit in Orlando this December and see Josh and get some credits from him and Brian. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your session that you're doing with Brian at New Money?
So I'm super excited. The session I'm doing with Brian is on LGBTQ plus people in the accounting and tax profession. We're going to touch on why you should care more or want to learn more about LGBTQ people, better ways to communicate with people on your staff and your clients, and really how this can affect your bottom line, because that's what most of us in business care about is money.
Right, we don't want to leave any money on the table, and I think that this platform that you are taking advantage of is going to be so helpful across all of our New Money clients. What are you looking forward to most about being at the New Money Summit?
I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people that I know on social media that I've yet to meet in person, and I'm looking forward to some of the other sessions at New Money.
And do you have your outfits picked out yet for our soirees?
Not yet. I have a little bit of time left.
Okay.
You have a little bit of time left. Make sure that you come to dress to impress, because
maybe there will be a prize.
Maybe there will be a prize.
It's a photo with us.
And Todd.
And Todd.
We do have this running joke that actually is kind of fun, that if you find Todd anywhere at Disney, then we'll give you a prize. No one's found him yet.
And we don't know what the prize is.
But when you find him, let us know.
That's a pretty big area to look for.
Well, Todd's got a lot of stuff. He's easy to find.
Easy to spot.
He has a big camera.
Yeah, he's got a big old backpack and lots of things. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We wish we were out there eating Italian food with you. However, we're in the studio, and we're so happy that you got to see us and we got to see you. And hopefully, you'll be able to make it to the studio soon to teach teach them the courses.
That would be great, and thank you for having me, and I've enjoyed participating in this.
Of course, thanks so much.
TaxSnax is brought to you by non-tax experts just like you.
So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Catch us next week where we'll be eating more food, talking to more experts, and where we'll decide, should I buy a polar bear?
Why would you do that?
Because they're cute and cuddly.
Well, in the meantime, make sure you take no tax advice from fake tax experts online.
Or us, unless it's in this podcast.